like the market is there, okay? We cannot control the market. It doesn't matter how much you want it to go up or down. It's gonna go where it's gotta go, okay? This is like people. They're gonna go where they gotta go. The most we can control is what we do, what we buy, what we sell, all of that. Our reactions, our opinions, our attitudes, our words, and approach to stuff. Hi, my name is Candice Gladwell, and today I wanted to share with you what I think really helps if you're ever worried about what anyone else thinks. If you ever find yourself in a situation where maybe you want something or you feel something and you're in relation with another person that maybe doesn't agree with that and you're worried what they're gonna think, I want to share with you that it's okay. Okay, there's a way to let go of that, and there's a way you can actually get over yourself almost, because let's dissect that to the core, right? Why do you ever worry about what anyone else will think of you? Usually this is only the case because you can either value your opinion or you can value their opinion, okay? When we think that we are worried about what someone else will think, it's because we care more about their opinion than our own opinion. But how does that make sense? How does that make sense? Like, why? Why? Your opinion is the one that actually matters. Whatever that person thinks, it's not up to you, okay? That completely does not matter. Absolutely not, because you are here to be you. You are in this body as a consciousness inside of your body, okay? You're not inside of anyone else's body. Your body is where your brain is. And so we don't ever know what is going on outside of us. If you are in yourself, you know your opinion. You don't know anyone else's. We don't know what they feel. We don't know what they think. In fact, I think it's a little bit unfair for us to expect them to feel a kind of way if you think about it. It's like by putting our own in position of an expectation of their opinion, we're like trying to control the outcome, and it's almost like we're imposing that on them and taking away their free will, because everyone has a free will to choose their opinion. That person you're worried about has a free will to choose his opinion, and whatever the past is, whatever happened in your past with that person is by no means a measure of what's going to happen in the future, because we don't know that. And even though the patterns repeat, it's almost like we expect them to repeat and we treat them the same way. So it's like a closed loop, it's like a closed circle almost, because it's like something happens and we get an outcome, and then it's like something happens again and we expect the same thing, but it doesn't mean it has to be the same thing. People have to fail like a zillion times sometimes just to learn something different. So sometimes it's like we expect that, but it's almost unfair to the other person. Just think about it, right? People learn and grow. We're not the same we used to be when we were kids. It's kind of like when you're a kid, you're one way, and then you grow, you become an adult, you step into yourself, right? You learn and you grow and you become yourself, essentially. And it's like your parents, sometimes it's like a term is like body cryogenics almost, like, or like mental cryogenics. Essentially the idea is that when you are a kid, your parents see you a certain way, but that idea of you freezes in their mind, and it's almost like they expect you to be the kid you forever. So sometimes people are literally unable to change their idea of you, and they expect you to do certain things, right? But you are no longer the same. You're now different. You're not the version of you that you are after you've grown up. You're no longer the kid, right? So someone expects you to still be the kid, but you're an adult. Is that fair to you? Right? But that's what we're doing to each other. We're doing this to each other and we don't even know it, because it's like it doesn't matter if you're a kid or if you grew up some amount but then you didn't grow up fully. We still grow and change over time. The you a month ago is not the you now. The you a day ago could not be a you now, because maybe you realized something and changed. And so it's the same true for everybody else. This truth is true for everyone else, not just you and not just me. It's the truth to all of us. And so I think with that idea, it only makes sense to allow the other person that as well, to allow the other person space for change, to allow them to grow, to allow them to develop, and to accept them as they are. And simply when something happens and you're worried about what they're going to think, just accept the fact that sometimes we just don't know. We can just give it benefit of the doubt, and we can just do what feels right for us. And sometimes we actually kind of sabotage our own intentions as well. If you're doing something, are you doing it from your heart, or are you doing it for someone else to have an opinion that's positive, right? And I think that's really at the core. If you ever want to stop worrying about what anyone else thinks, just do it from your heart and do it with good intentions. And simply know that it will be what it needs to be for the other person, because we don't always know. We don't always know what's going to happen. And that's the most you can do, because the easiest thing for you, because you are consciousness inside of your body that you currently are, is just to recognize what it is that this particular consciousness of you is feeling in this moment. What are you feeling in this moment, and what do you feel is the next outcome for you? And then evaluate that. Is it coming from your heart or the head? The heart is the one that feels authentically this is what you want to do, this is where you feel like you're headed and you're going, and the head is the one that always tries to overthink everything. The head is like, yeah, but I need to, I have to, I should. That's the head. Okay, the head is the one that always gets you in trouble, because essentially it's like our mind is limited. Our mind is limited so much because we don't know everything. Think about it, there's just so much out there. There's new things happen every day. That's how inventions are made, right? But we don't necessarily think about that. Our mind is just used to the pattern of our past, and we just learn to replicate that. We don't often question the past. We just kind of, well, this is just what it is, but this is not what it has to be. Okay, you can change your past. You can learn to give it a different meaning, and you can learn to know that everything that happened in our past is there for a reason. It's like we all had to fail. That person you're worried about had to at some point have a negative reaction for them to learn that maybe, well, I actually don't know what they need to learn, but it's like everything that happens, like personally, if I ever have a bad reaction with something and then I notice that, or someone calls me out on it, I learn from that. So every time I maybe even act out and someone actually calls me out and then says like, what are you doing? It kind of grounds me to what I should do. So then that's a good thing. It's a good thing to have that at first, because it allows you to learn how to better navigate situations, how to better approach things. And the most I can say is we cannot ever, unfortunately, control anyone else. It's like the only thing we have control over is ourselves. It's kind of like trying to influence the stock market. Okay, the stock market is just there. If you ever trade anything online or financially, it's like the market is there. Okay, we cannot control the market. It doesn't matter how much you want it to go up or down. It's gonna go where it's gotta go. Okay, this is like people. They're gonna go where they gotta go. The most we can control is what we do, what we buy, what we sell, all of that. Our reactions, our opinions, our attitudes, our words, and approach to stuff. That's the only thing we can control. And so I think it just makes sense to not expect the stock market to move a certain way just because we really want it to go up. Okay, it's gonna go what it's gotta go. Okay, if it's gotta crash, then it's gonna crash. Okay, and we cannot ever control that. It's the same with people. We cannot ever control what people are gonna do. We cannot. It's like, it's kind of silly really to get into our head like this, but we do it all the time. And I used to do it all the time too. Like I would get into my head every time about everything and everybody, and just the smallest things that don't matter. And they put me into this box where I couldn't express myself at all, because it was like I worried about every single little thing that didn't matter in reality. Because in reality, what matters? I think what matters is, are you happy with your life, and are you happy with yourself and everything that is going on around you, and how you are yourself, that you appear in this world, right? Because again, you're in your body, right? You have a perspective. Someone else is in their body, or they have their perspective, right? And it's kind of like, usually people, they stand in their own selves and they communicate that perspective, but are we doing the same? Or are we kind of expecting to be almost like in them, not really in ourselves, because we have our own perspective, we have our own thing we want, and they have their own, and these are the same value. Okay, your opinion is the same value as the other person, so then why are we expecting that our opinion is not that important? Like, why would you ever subdue your opinion for the sake of someone else's opinion? That's not right. Okay, I don't think this is okay, because your opinion is important to you. That's the only one that matters. I like this analogy of, like, if you're wearing something, whatever you're wearing right now, right? If you like what you're wearing, if you like your shirt, okay, and someone tells you that, hey, I don't like that on you, well, that's just their life, okay? You're the one wearing it. If it makes you happy, then it makes you happy. I noticed that anytime anything would ever trigger me like that, it was only because I ever took it as truth. So if someone told me they don't like something about me, I would only ever get triggered if I actually felt like they were right. So that would mean that either if they don't like something on me, either because I actually don't like that, so it's not actually me, or I felt like I just didn't deserve to have whatever I had, or even at the core, I didn't deserve to be myself. It really went that deep for me. But then once you own it, once you own yourself, just own your feelings, own whatever you are and have. It's like whatever someone else says, they're just talking. That's just their opinion. I value their opinion, but I have my own opinion. And it's like, it's important what they have, and it's important what you have. But usually when we overthink and worry, it's because we kind of put the other person to where we think their opinion is more important than our own. Because if we value our opinions the same, then we will take that considerate time to evaluate what we feel, what we think, and we'll take the other person into consideration as well. But there is no worry because we know that we're coming from our heart. When you're speaking and communicating from your heart, and you have truly accepted that you and the other person are equal, there is no more need to worry because you know that you're communicating with good intentions, and that makes you feel at peace because you know you mean well, and you also understand that everything in life happens for a reason. And sometimes things that happen that are bad or painful, they're not always bad. They just seem bad at first, and they can hurt a lot, and that hurt is very painful and unpleasant. But in the end, we end up where we are meant to be. Like if you look into your life, right, and I look into mine too, a lot of the painful experiences in our lives allowed us to be where we currently are. It allowed us to grow and to become the person that we are. All the crazy stuff in my life made me a stronger person. You know, every time someone says no to you or you fail, you get up and you keep going and you keep trying, and then you just know that in the end it will be okay. It's like when Einstein invented the light bulb, he actually not the one that invented, but when the light bulb was invented, okay, they failed 1,000 times. They failed so much, but they had to fail to learn how to do it right. And so it doesn't make sense to worry about someone else because you will not fail by expressing yourself. You're just expressing yourself. There's no way to fail there. It's kind of like a lose-lose situation if you're worried about someone else because you're gambling because we don't know them. It's really hard to know someone else. So the only thing that makes sense in my opinion is just know how you feel, value yourself, understand that you and them are equal, and just communicate from your heart. And just know that you mean well. And that kind of usually allows you to not really worry because you know where you're coming from, and you know you value yourself and you value the other person the same, and you respect both parties. And I hope that it made some sense, and I hope it helped. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I wish you have a wonderful day.